Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, Diamonds and Washi. This is Katie, and if you're new here, hi, welcome, and if you are back, welcome back. Today, I have a video that I'm really excited to be sharing with all of you, and I felt like it needed just a little bit of a reveal, which is why I have awkwardly placed another canvas over top of part of this, because it took me a while to get this project even remotely in frame. So today we are doing the long awaited, as in I've been working on this project for a while, post review of Magical Merry-Go-Round. Okay. Let me zoom you out so you can see the whole thing. It's going to be just a little bit distorted in camera because of how this works, but there you get a little bit of a sense for this massive project. You guys, I finished it. I am, if you can't tell, I am basically giddy. I am so excited to have finished this project. Now, let me give you some of the stats. I'm going to zoom you back in so we're not distorted. You can look at these pretty horses and carousel here. But as I mentioned, the name of this kit is Magical Merry-Go-Round. This is based on the artwork from the artist Josephine Wall, and she has legally licensed this piece to Diamond Painting Deutschland, or Germany. So this is one of the really large pieces that this company does. The size on this of the drill field of the finished picture is 100 by 75 centimeters. So it's a big one. The number of colors is really what makes this piece unique and special. This piece has 220 colors. I have a lot of thoughts about this, so please stick around because I have a lot to share, including my thoughts on the fact that this had 220 colors. So I started this project back at the end of October last year. And I want to say that I worked on just a little 1-inch square section and put some drills down on October 30th. I worked on this not exclusively. I've always had at least one or two other whips going just for sake of breathers and sanity breaks, which I'll get into again more a little bit later. But I worked on this usually for a couple hours, 2 to 4 hours usually in the evenings after my kids go to bed, because it is such a project to set up. And as I mentioned before, I live in a small space, so I do all of my diamond painting at my kitchen table, and I have 2 little ones running around, so I have to pack this up every evening after I'm done diamond painting, or during the day if, I have stuff set up. Anyway, this is just too big of a project to have out during the day when my kids are running around. So I worked on this up until I finished it on February 16th. So I did take the month of December completely off to work on some Christmas and wintry kits. So all said and done, about 2.5 months, 2.5 to 3 months, not necessarily working on it every day. I did the rough math, and based on how long it took me to finish a section on average, I think that I spent around 250 hours on this project. And that is because of all of the confetti. So let me show you the storage that I used. So I had to get creative when it came to my storage solutions because I wanted to be able to see all 220 colors at a glance, roughly speaking, and be able to find the symbol that I was looking for pretty quickly. So I put the colors that there were the most of in this Elizabeth Ward container, and then the rest went in here. So these I used for the colors that there were the fewest of, and then there's 2 layers in here and each have different size vials. I am not going to go super in depth on that tonight because that is not totally the the goal of this video. If you're curious about these actual storage containers and where to get them, I will link them below in the description so you can go and check those out. I was really happy with how that worked out for me, and yeah, so that was kind of how I approached this project. If you're curious about what it looks like to work on a canvas that is very large, like this one or even larger, I did actually put together a how-to video that talks about just some tips and tricks for working on a really large diamond painting canvas. And I think it's been helpful for a lot of people. So if you're curious for more on that, I will link that video here up in the eye in the top right corner, and I'll also link it down below in the description. Definitely go and check it out. I hope that you'll find it to be helpful. Let's talk about some things that I really liked about this canvas. So I really enjoy how the overall effect of this canvas is very true to the original artwork. I'm going to zoom you out once more. And then what I want to do is I'm gonna put up the original artwork on this screen here so that you can take a look at what Josephine Wall's original artwork looks like. So you could take a look at that. And then when I take it away, you can see kind of back to back how that looks. So especially at more of a viewing distance, which is sort of what you're at now, that's what the camera zoom out, lens that I'm using, the effect that it's imitating is more of a viewing distance. I feel like this does look better. Once you get up close to the canvas, that's when you start to see some of the blurred details and the confetti. So you kind of have to keep that in mind when you're looking at a piece in this style with this many colors and of this scope, is that it is not designed for you to be up close looking at it. It's designed to come together once you've stepped back to a viewing distance and are looking at it on the whole. That said, I am a little disappointed with some of the color choices. For example, up here in the sky, I really feel that this could have been blended better. I feel like this dark lavender and dark pink is really jarring. And this is one of those instances where it could have been an odd dye lot with that purple DMC. I actually went back and even Googled to see what that DMC color was, because initially I thought, did they send me the wrong color? No, it's the correct color. It just, I wonder sometimes like how much of this was computer rendered and how much someone went back through and touched it up with sort of that human eye perspective that a computer won't give it. So that's something I am kind of disappointed on. And the same with the trees. So both up at the top right and over at the top left, those are almost like these really beautiful light airy cherry blossom trees in the original artwork. And the way that they ended up being rendered here with the colors, they're very dark. They have a really dark effect that I will say, I guess when I step back more like this, I get more of the impression of what they're supposed to be, but I have mixed feelings about it. For comparison's sake, I'm going to put up the original artwork here again and take a look at the colors in the sky as well as in the cherry blossom trees. So here's the original artwork. And then we're back to the diamond painting as completed. Something else that I was really actually very pleased with was the overall drill quality. I found there to be pretty minimal trash. Very little in the way of drills with tabs on them or inconsistently sized drills. Everything was pretty great as far as drill quality went. I did not run out of any drills whatsoever, which was great. I had plenty left over, and I'm definitely planning to save all of those. Though I don't know how long it's going to take me to kit down 220 colors. It took me a few hours to kit up. If you're curious, I do have a video where I talk about my whole kitting up and organizational process. I'll link it up in the eye if you want to take a look. So some other things that I really liked was that So this is actually on a double-sided adhesive. With this company, Diamond Painting Deutschland, on any other canvases that are larger like this one, they do double-sided adhesive as opposed to poured glue. Their smaller kits on their website are poured glue. I was really apprehensive because I tend to find double-sided adhesive to be more fickle. I had a mixed experience with this kit, and I have to say though, I don't know how much of it was user error because I haven't worked with double-sided adhesive much. Let me explain that a little better. So when this came, it came rolled up in a tube, and I unrolled it and promptly pulled the cover back without a whole lot of preamble and letting it rest and what have you. So I honestly think that some of the bubbles and rivers that were caused were most likely my fault. So that being said, I did have problems with bubbles on this canvas quite a bit. I did take off the opaque cover that came on this and replaced it with parchment paper on a recommendation from one of Miss Coffee's videos over at Miss Crocheting Coffee. She has a video all about how to sort of save your double-sided adhesive canvases and try to prevent issues like bubbles and rivers. So she recommends parchment paper or release paper. I didn't have that much release paper lying around, so parchment paper it was. I think that it helped. I think what was more important though was that I found a space in my home to hang this flat. When I worked on the first couple of columns, I had tried loosely rolling it and putting it up when I was done at the end of the day, and that caused problems, even loosely rolled with parchment paper. So from then on, I clipped a pants hanger on the end and hung it in a spot in my hallway to hang it flat, and I do think that that helped. So I've given you that full context for the issues that I had with the adhesive. That being said, it's been super sticky. I have not had any drills fall off or pop, which that's drill quality and adhesive quality that are thumbs up in that regard. And otherwise, like I said, I don't see any like visible bubbles like with the drills on the canvas because I did try to go through and use an X-Acto knife to take care of those and help the adhesive lay flat once more. I just want to talk for a minute about the symbols on the canvas itself. So the symbols as they are on the containers and on the legend, they're pretty clear, and I feel like given the fact that they had to come up with 220 symbols, I'm really okay with the symbols that they chose for the most part. However, a number of these symbols, because we're talking about space for a square drill, which is smaller than a round drill, and something about the way that they printed it. A couple of the symbols on the canvas were really faded or blurry or just not quite distinct enough. Thankfully, once I worked on this for a little bit, it was pretty easy for me to tell like what symbol each one was, but it was a lot of mental legwork up front to try to decipher which symbol each was supposed to be. So for example, this particular symbol, while it looks really clear right there, the white was almost invisible on the canvas itself. So I really, especially for the cost and the sort of scope of this project, I really hope that they will improve their printing process or what have you so that the symbols aren't difficult to read in some cases. Let me show you not only a different area of the canvas, but also an area that has both my most and least favorite colors and renderings going on, and that is over here. If you haven't already seen me kind of whine about it, I am not really thrilled that her name is right here like this. One of my issues with it is that the website, the listing for this kit does not have this here. And to be completely honest with you, I think it looks kind of tacky. I think it takes away from the artwork, and I'm disappointed that this is here. I've had some people ask if I've thought about pulling out these drills and replacing them, but frankly, friends, this is an absolute confetti nightmare. I can't wrap my brain around what it would look like to try to pop these out and replace them. So that's probably one of my biggest downsides to this particular kit. However, I mentioned, like I said, that this area has one of my favorite parts. I am in love with how they rendered this river. This is the Seine River because we're in Paris, in case you didn't know from the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame over there. So this is the Seine River, and just the rainbow effect of it, which let me, if I can do this well, bring it up just a little. No. Okay. So you can see just the rainbow effect. Look at the sparkle on these drills. I love how they rendered the river. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm so bummed that this name interrupts that beautiful, beautiful rendering. It is what it is. I'm not going to keep harping on it, but I just, if nothing else, I wish that they would show this as much on the website so you know what you are buying. All right, so I'm going to shift it again so you can look at different parts of the canvas while I talk. A couple of other things that certainly shouldn't go unsaid as far as what I really did like about this canvas and what made it special. It was a really fascinating experiment for me. I've been told I'm crazy for finding something like this enjoyable and relaxing because it did take quite a lot of just patience and being okay with knowing that a section that is 3 by 3 inches big is going to take me 4 hours to complete. So I enjoyed it. I felt like it was something so completely different than anything I've ever done before. I loved it. It was fascinating. It was almost like just mental exercise, keeping me sharp, keeping my diamond painting skills sharp, I suppose. So I really, look how pretty this, I do like how they rendered the Eiffel Tower. I love how this all just gives this impressionistic feel, which I think is very true to the original style of the artwork. Sorry, I'm just looking at it and going, oh yeah, that does look, I like how that came out. It's very pretty. So yes, also, as I mentioned, this is legally licensed artwork, and this is unique. This is something that I haven't seen any other companies do. You could order a custom from a company that offers lots of colors and have a similar experience, but Josephine Wall has only legally licensed her artwork to a couple of different companies. So to have the experience of working on her artwork and seeing what it's like to work on a kit that has 220 colors and watch her artwork come together, that's pretty special, and that I think is worth mentioning as well. So I've shared with you some of the things that I love and am not as crazy about this canvas. And now I think it'd be good to take a few minutes just to talk through some thoughts and questions, I suppose. And these are things that I'm thinking through, and I'd be so curious to hear your thoughts on as well, having seen this. So one of the first things that I wonder is, why not poured glue? I have seen many canvases from other companies that are this size or even larger that have been done with poured glue. So I know it's doable. I would be really curious to see if this company is able to, or potentially looking towards, doing any of these Josephine Wall canvases in poured glue, because I feel like that would be a little bit more pleasant experience, just to make it a little less fickle to work with. I'm having mixed feelings on the idea of my guess is that this is largely computer generated rendering. And I wonder sort of what's the benefit of that versus having a little bit more of a human touch, or that element, that set of eyes that can look at a piece and say, that's an odd, random pixel to have over there, or, this color, the way that this, it pulled this color doesn't quite fit or match, give the right, impression of the original artwork. Let's adapt that. I understand that probably would be extremely difficult to do with a canvas with 220 colors, so maybe it's a give or a take. You know, if you want this many colors to have this experience, maybe you have to give up this other thing. But I'd like to think that maybe there's a happy medium. I also, so the question that I keep coming back to, and I've had many people comment on my YouTube videos where I've talked about this canvas and my Instagram progress updates as well, is I feel like the $1 million question about a kit like this. Is more really better? Are more colors better than fewer? And I suppose it's going to depend on the specific artwork that you're working on and also what you define as better. For some people, they might much prefer the really clean, sharp lines that you get from a company like Diamond Art Club. Others might see something like this and go, well, yes, this looks exactly how I would want it to when I'm looking at it from a viewing distance. This is a wonderful interpretation of the original artwork. So I'm guessing it's going to vary from person to person, and where I land is somewhere in the middle. I think that more colors can do a lot for a painting, like more than just like stripping this down to say 50 or 60 colors. But I think it has to be done right. And, you know, like I love the effect of the confetti here and the level of detail that it gives when you step back. But I think that all of the extra color, like for example, here we don't get clean lines of the poles on the carousel. And I think that just comes from how the computer pulls the colors on the original artwork. So I would have been interested to see them maybe go in and just replace a couple of drills to make this look just a little bit cleaner. And I think, again, I think it's all about balance. I think it's a happy medium. Have lots of color, but tweak it just a little bit. That's just my opinion though. You may have a totally different one, whether it's, girlfriend, all of that color is a hot, muddy mess. Or you might be thinking, no, they don't need to clean it up. Like this is the effect that it should have when you step back. So feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments, because I feel like that's the question that I just can't figure out where I land on. And I really would love your thoughts now that you've looked at this whole thing. And I'm going to zoom you back out one more time so you can see the whole thing. And then give those thoughts before I share just a little bit more. Oh, and zooming out, that also brings me to, I really could take or leave this giant legend that they've printed on the side. Let's be honest, when you're working on a canvas this large, like if I'm overworking on that end, there's no way I'm gonna go crawl over to this legend every single time that I need to check for a symbol or color. So I feel like this is kind of a waste of canvas, and if I get another one of these kits, frankly, I'll probably cut this off and trim some of the excess. There's a lot of excess canvas around the edges. I feel like I kind of want to trim that so it's a little less unwieldy to work with, and there's a little less material in my way. So anyway, here is the completed canvas one more time. You are getting just a little bit of glare from my lighting, like here and over here, so some of that like is a light thing. It's not an odd color thing. So you'll have to sort of take it with that grain of salt. And just for good measure, I'm going to put up the original artwork here so you can do a little comparison as well and let me know what your thoughts are. All right, so here's the one other thing I would recommend if you're going to work on a piece like this. I would definitely recommend having other whips going or taking breaks. This is a marathon and not a sprint. So just go into it knowing it's going to take you a little while. And if you're starting to feel burnt out on it, take a break and do something else for a minute. You will not regret taking that breather whatsoever. So now we've kind of come to the end of things, and the question is, would I recommend this company and a canvas and a kit like this? My answer is, as is very on brand for me, complicated. I think it's going to depend on what you enjoy about diamond painting and what your personal priorities are. Do you like the idea of working on something that is pure confetti, where you might place 7 or 8 drills in a row, like a handful of times in the entire canvas? Do you like this overall effect and this style of rendering? And do you have the space to work on it and have the storage that you need to? There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot to consider. So for me, I will say yes, I think it can be worth it. Again, it just is going to depend on you and your preferences. Don't rush into something like this. Take your time, think through everything. And honestly, I would even say go check out the video that I've done on how to work on a really large canvas. I share a lot of thoughts and advice for picking out a canvas like this and whether or not you should, if it's right for you, I mean. So part 2 of that question is, would I buy another kit from this company? Answer, well, I've been checking their website on and off for the past week because I have my eye on a couple of kits and I'm waiting to see if they come back in stock, and we'll see. I am a little bit sad that this is done, and I kind of do want to do another one. And I think I'm crazy because all up until about when I finished it, I said, I am going to be excited to be done with this and get to move on to all of my other projects, which is still true. But I had a lot more fun with this than I expected, and I kind of want to try another one, maybe in round drills. But yes, another Josephine Wall that's huge. One of the kits I'm looking at has 275 colors, so we'll see. I'd have to get more storage. So those are my thoughts on this. I have had a lot of questions about how to order from this company. And I know it can be intimidating, especially if you don't speak German and if you live in the States in particular. So I've gone over it a little bit before, but just to give you a really quick recap of how to do that. Their website, I'll link in the description below, of course. I highly recommend that you use the internet browser Google Chrome, either on your phone or on your desktop, because it will automatically translate websites to the language of your choice. So I basically can open this website in Chrome and I'm looking at it in English. It's super useful. Then if you see a painting that you want that's in stock, which they do go out of stock and restock fairly regularly, so if something is not in stock when you see it, don't panic, just check back. Email their customer service. Their customer service does speak English. You don't have to use Google Translate to German or anything like that. They speak English. They're very nice. They're very helpful. Be sure to check and ask first if they are able to ship to the United States or whatever country that you live in, if it's not Germany, because throughout the course of the pandemic, if you're watching this when it goes live, they have had to kind of go in and out of whether or not they're able to ship to the United States based on the restrictions of those countries at any given time. So that's not something that they have any control over, but just ask. And, if they say, no, we're not able to ship at this time to your country, check in with them again in a couple weeks or a month or something like that, and maybe things will have changed. Anyway, I think that's actually, for the moment, all that I can think of to share about this beautiful canvas. I'm quite sure that there are things that I'm forgetting, and I may insert a clip here if that's the case, but I hope that this was really helpful for you all. Genuinely. I loved working on this, but I also have just loved getting to share the process with you guys. I know it's been really interesting and fascinating for a lot of you, and I hope that getting to see this post review and the finished project, which I'm going to zoom out just one more time to show you this beautiful project. I hope that this was really enjoyable for you and helpful if you've been trying to decide whether or not to get one of these kits for yourself. I would imagine that some of you probably have some questions or thoughts and opinions. please share them all in the comments below. I would love to have an ongoing discussion about what you guys think about this kit. And I'm also, of course, happy to answer any questions that you have as well. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If this video was helpful for you, please hit the thumbs up before you click away. And if you haven't already subscribed, feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I share new videos, which is not quite on a schedule because I have little ones, but I do try to check in with you guys regularly. And if you're interested in seeing other videos that I've done specifically about this canvas, I do have a playlist where I have linked all of the videos that I've done relating to unboxing, kitting up, how to work on a large diamond painting canvas, everything about this particular canvas. I'll link that playlist up in the eye as well as down in the description, so feel free to go take a look. All right, thank you again for watching, my friends. Have a wonderful week. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.